The Netflix brand has been associated with innovation and disruption for more than 10 years. Netflix has been a success in every sense of the term, rising from modest beginnings in the late 1990s to practically single-handedly pioneering the modern paradigm for digital media consumption. However, being the first at something means that others will simply copy you. The number of streaming platforms has increased dramatically over the previous 10 years, from 1 to over 200, with more on the way. This rivalry, in addition to creative decisions and growth challenges, has brought Netflix into potentially hazardous area. As of the time this episode was being produced, Netflix's stock price had fallen by 70%. With more families set to leave in the upcoming year, employees are being let go, and hundreds of thousands of households are canceling their subscriptions. This episode will examine how Netflix became successful, what went wrong, and what the future may hold. Hello everyone. This is AWZ. Welcome to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy. Reid Hastings was incensed when Blockbuster assessed him a $40 late fee for returning a VHS tape. He thought he might later develop a better method because he was a mathematician, computer scientist, and entrepreneur. Reid and Mark talked about their individual ideas for shipping goods over the new internet as they were riding together in the automobile. They chose DVDs because they believed VHS tapes to be too fragile and pricey. John Antioco, the CEO of Blockbuster, laughed them out of the office because he thought the dot-com boom was exaggerated and unstoppable. Blockbusters quickly introduced their own DVD rental business after realizing their mistake as Netflix became more and more well-known. Unfortunately, Blockbuster's demise came about in 2007 as a result of poor management and enormous corporate debt. Netflix shifted to internet streaming as access to high-speed internet spread. This turned out to be the ideal choice, and business for the company really took off. We should keep in mind that the streaming platform concept for watching television and movies at home was seen as groundbreaking in the late 2000s and early 2010s. Netflix was at the fore of this change. They had a significant head start and were the first and only very successful streaming platform for TV series and films from a wide range of studios. There was enough good stuff available that people were willing to pay for it. Free-to-air programming that was sponsored by advertising grew unacceptable. It became accessible in the Americas, Canada, Latin America, and the Caribbean by 2010, and by 2012, it had been extended to the UK and Australia. Critically acclaimed shows like 2013's Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, Black Mirror, and later Stranger Things were rapidly followed by original programming. The excitement of this period for customers, especially those living outside of the United States, cannot be understated. Similar ventures at first provided competition, but soon businesses with ostensibly limitless resources started launching their own streaming services for $5 per month. For $5 per month, Apple TV Plus focuses on premium programming. HBO debuted HBO Max and dazzled critics with fresh programming like Success. The last vestiges of nostalgia were eliminated when Disney, the most oppressive of all the tyrant IP monsters, introduced their very own Disney Plus. For everything, it cost $12 per month. For reference, a typical Netflix subscription now costs around $16 per month, making it one of the priciest choices. Later, we'll talk about how this is harming the business, but for now, despite the increased competition, Netflix was still the market leader and was poised to win big owing to a huge event that was about to take place in China. Along with most other platforms, Netflix saw a significant increase in subscribers when vaccines became available and the pandemic subsided. People were stranded at home during a period when Tiger King was the talk of the town. Over the course of 2020 and into 2021, Netflix added tens of millions of additional customers and established itself as the market leader in stay-at-home stocks, a sector that attracted significant investment. The number of Netflix customers was steadily growing in the middle of 2021. But once vaccines became available and the pandemic subsided, everything would alter. Netflix had a problem since customers were no longer confined to their homes. Because of the increased quality and amount of competition, consumers had over a year to sample all each service had to offer, so they were well equipped to choose which ones they wanted to keep and which ones they wanted to get rid of. A reckoning was coming for Netflix in mid-April 2022 as a result of intellectual property theft from the company and a slowdown in subscriber growth, which could only mean one thing. Investors in Netflix left in droves. Following the disclosure that the service had lost 200,000 users internationally in the previous quarter and anticipated losing millions more in the following, this occurred. The actual growth was 2.5 million more than the first projection. For the first time in 10 years, Netflix lost more subscribers in a quarter than it had acquired. The unexpected revelation prompted a 35% decline in the stock value right away. Fearful investors started to worry if Netflix had reached its peak. Although Netflix's business is fundamentally straightforward to grasp in light of recent developments, the billionaire writes in a letter to shareholders that we have lost confidence in our ability to forecast the company's future prospects with a sufficient degree of accuracy. Many people probably followed him down the toilet when you placed his name on a stock like that. Investors in Netflix are enraged. In fact, some stockholders are so dissatisfied that they sued the streaming service. They contend that Netflix management misled them over the company's financial outlook. Netflix has attributed the decline in subscribers to a number of factors. They cite factors including heightened competition, a rise in employment, the company's decision to leave Russia, and password sharing among households, a practice they didn't mind in the past. These answers are undoubtedly valuable contributions, but they do not cover all of the Netflix tale. When competing platforms are setting new standards, Netflix cannot just rely on user laziness and brand recognition. Netflix has a ton of content, but it's become harder than it should be to filter through it and locate the jewels. When Netflix originally debuted, its original content was outstanding, but it now seems that much less of that is being produced, and it also seems that Netflix viewers are tired of their favorite new programs being canceled after 1 or 2 seasons, which is a frequent occurrence. Other issues include a recent focus on content with a stronger political undertone, which typically doesn't work well in any medium. For instance, the situation is made worse by Netflix's pricing strategy. Price rises are happening more often, and many households are finding it harder and harder to keep up. Consumers typically have less money to spend on entertainment due to growing inflation and interest rates, and Netflix is at the top of the list of expenses to cut. It all comes down to this: why would viewers pay more for programming whose quality is gradually declining and whose programs face the possibility of cancellation? The Netflix HD option is now the most costly streaming service offered, which in this market is plain absurd, especially in light of the company's announcement that a less-priced version with advertisements will be made available soon. Ironically, this is making Netflix exactly the same stale viewing experience that customers initially fled from all those years ago. Netflix CEO Reid Hastings acknowledged he had never desired an advertising tier for Netflix during a meeting with investors last month. Those who have followed Netflix know that I'm opposed to the complexity of advertising and a huge fan of the simplicity of membership, says the streaming service. This is all for today. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe our channel. Stay tuned with AWZ.